All right, everybody, I am finally back with a brand new DC update. And I know I promised you guys one on the weekend, but I got busy with family. So I was not able to get in and do a video. But I did go see The Black Phone 2, and I will have a review up for that shortly. And so that was one of the reasons why I wasn't able to get up a video. We went as a family to go see that film. And the day prior to that, I took my daughter to go see one of my daughters to see Tron Ares again. She wanted to see it, and so I just did not have the time this weekend to do a video. But boy, yes, as you can tell by the title, Henry Cavill is Superman. And here it is about 5 days later, and they are still talking about that photo that Zack Snyder put out there. Like, it has triggered a lot of people. These people need to learn to read the room. What does it matter if people like myself share that video or that Zack Snyder did? How does that affect you? How does that affect the DCU? What it does is it makes them look scared. Okay. Now, there have been two other things that have happened since that photo got released that really makes you start to think something is happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. And we're going to look at that in today's video. So let's get started. The first photo I have for you guys here has to do with the comic industry and what is going on with DC right now. And the talk of the town is this knockout series that they have going on right now called DCKO. And they've got Scott Snyder, who is out there helping to promote this. He is the brainchild behind this whole thing. And there's going to be a spin-off called Night Fight 1 and Night Fight number 2, which is going to be in a miniseries, is part of the tie-in miniseries to this. And so you could see the different Batmans that are going to be in this. And you definitely want to make sure you are reserving this at your comic shop if you want to get a copy of it. Because these will sell out. There's no question about it. This is a very popular event they have going on, and I believe it does go on through March. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you're going to want to check it out. Now, James Gunn did tease that Blue Beetle was going to be in Peacemaker. And somebody had asked him the question, we're going to see, we're hoping to see Blue Beetle soon, in Peacemaker, and James Gunn had made a comment like, you could be in luck, keep an eye out, something like that. And somebody flat out asked him, why did you lie about Blue Beetle being there? We miss Jamie Reyes. He said, I never said Blue Beetle was going to be there. I said people might be in luck who want to see Blue Beetle again. And this is what James Gunn does. It was clear in the post that he talked about this, that they were specifically asking about Peacemaker. But James Gunn will sit there and say stuff to try to get people to watch the show. So he's trying to blame it on people not understanding what he wrote, when in fact he was trying to make it seem like he was going to be in Peacemaker. This is the way James Gunn operates. You cannot believe what James Gunn tells you. So you have to watch what he says. Also, we have this is from Nexus Point News. This is kind of a synopsis on the Mr. Miracle TV series. And here's what it says. Sources tell Nexus Point News that casting is currently underway and character descriptions have revealed the supporting cast. The series is set to feature Darkseid as a series antagonist, Highfather, Lightray, Orion, and Funky Flashman. The series will adapt King's 12-issue Eisner Award-winning Mr. Miracle. Confirmed plot points include Scott being infected by the anti-life equation and, most importantly, his suicide attempt. Darkseid is described as a physical manifestation of all evil in the universe. He speaks in a silly, over-the-top manner, which is balanced with his calm but confident demeanor. So, look at what it says. Silly, over-the-top manner. We're going to end up seeing this character assassinated by what they're doing. I'm just telling you right now, we started to get a good glimpse of Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I can tell you right now they're going to character assassinate Darkseid in this show. You could tell just by what they said there. Funky Flashman serves as a narrator in certain scenes, and his Stan Lee inspiration is very prevalent in this adaptation of the character. Described as a snake oil salesman, he's very articulate with his words and knows how to sell a product. Light Ray was raised alongside Orion and is very loyal to Highfather and Orion. He considers himself superior to Scott and Barda and sees himself as too good for their mission, for the missions assigned to him by Highfather. Highfather is also the all-knowing leader of New Genesis, who has trouble connecting with the other new gods due to his status and power, especially Scott, who has resented his childhood for his decision to give him up to Darkseid. Orion, the son of Darkseid, carries his father's anger, sins, and ambition, but has repressed it since childhood, since being raised by Highfather. Orion will serve as a mentor to Scott in the series. All right, it just sounds to me like, I don't know. I don't have high hopes for anything that the DCU is doing or anything that they're doing with DC under Warner Brothers right now. It just seems like everything they want to do is going to be silly and over the top. The people in charge are not taking these characters seriously. So, James Gunn had to come in and chime in about the season finale and the lack of interest, or people get angry that things didn't happen. And somebody asked James Gunn, I was hoping for a big reveal in the finale, and since we didn't get it, I gotta know, is Flurry Martian Manhunter? Or even if he's not, is there more to him than what we saw this season? James Gunn said he's not, but I don't get that people don't think there aren't big reveals here, including Checkmate and Salvation. I wouldn't call those big reveals or worthy of a season finale. Now, this has also been talked about over the last week, and you had Grace Randolph come out and do a video about this and how James Gunn is basically the one who was the downfall of the MCU, and now that he's actually over here doing it with the DCU. And Cosmic Book News posted on this, and I know people are going to get angry that I'm sharing this, but it's true. It's all coming out now. James Gunn is said to have given Kevin Feige and Marvel notes on which creatives to hire. Kevin Feige took an approach to the MCU focused on the message. Sound familiar, DCU fans? That's the same direction Gunn has taken at DC. That approach proved disastrous for Marvel. James Gunn, before he left Marvel, was recommending a lot of talent, right? And a lot of that recent talent has really led Marvel down the wrong path. A path that, oddly, DC is now going on, said YouTuber Grace Randolph. She added, in the early days of Marvel, they were hiring more professional people, right? People who were more established. But then when Gunn came in, they started taking risks on quirkier, lower down people. And that's exactly what is happening. Nicholas Hoult says he hasn't read the script for James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow, but the two have recently discussed the sequel. I just spoke to him a week or two ago about the sequel. I haven't read it yet, but hopefully will soon. So I can't say anything more than that. So he's in the know that the script is done, but he hasn't read it, and they're not going to be able to talk about it anyway. All right, so everybody got upset in my last video that I shared the Batman artwork. Well, the great Chuck Dixon, the legendary Chuck Dixon from comics, came out and made his own comic. Batman takes down some Jokers. And you could see, I'm not going to give any commentary on this, but you can see that Batman has an ice thing on his chest, and he's got an Antifa, at least one or two Antifa members there in custody. And they are very much alive. Chuck Dixon is a legend. You also had Grant Morrison come out and say that Superman 2025 is the best Superman movie yet. And I think a lot of people would disagree with him. I think the 78 version movie is amazing. Man of Steel is amazing. Superman 2025 is the most forgettable Superman film, I think, that has ever been made. Peacemaker star Steve Agee, or Aggie, I don't know how you say his name, says fans are definitely going to see more of his character in the DCU. Is anybody asking for that? Is anybody asking for that? Also, there was a lot of talk about this over the weekend as well. Exclusive Batgirl star Jacob Scipio says he thinks the canceled DC movie could still get released. I think if enough people want it, it can happen. All right, I'm going to be very real about this here. It is not going to happen under the current regime over there at Warner Brothers. They took a tax write-off on this. If we are ever going to see this movie, ever, it can only be on a free service. Maybe something like the Roku channel or Pluto or something like that. They cannot charge people for this. Nobody can be profiting off of it because it was taken as a tax write-off. They can't even include it on a disc as a special feature because people may buy it because that's on there and they cannot make money off of it. So the chances of seeing this are very, very small. Because of what Chuck Dixon posted, he came out and he was attacked, and he came out and made this post. He said, the bots and their shills are saying that DC Comics is going to fire me. Actually, I think the people that would have a better chance of being fired are the ones that actually advocated doing violence against law enforcement rather than what Chuck Dixon did. This was also big news. AMC and Netflix have finally decided to work together. The theater chain will show K-pop Demon Hunters on 400 screens during Halloween, with discussions ongoing on other theatrical opportunities. Guys, this could lead to a lot of different things. This could lead to big Netflix movies premiering in theaters first. They've done this a few times in the past where it might show in theaters for a week. I remember seeing the El Camino, the Breaking Bad story in theaters before it was on Netflix. I actually went to the movies to go see that. And so they have done stuff like this in the past. This will be more widespread and could lead to big things. It could be another revenue stream for Netflix. And if people don't think that, that wouldn't be a good idea, this could lead to Restore the Snyderverse actually happening. Now, this is pretty freaking awesome, and I'm so glad to see Matt Reeves come out and talk about this, and I have a feeling this is really the real reason why this has been delayed. Matt Reeves says he prevented the Batman saga from being set in James Gunn's DCU to spite you specifically. I think that is hilarious. There were a lot of people that wanted this to happen, and he's held firm on this since the beginning, that he wants his Batman universe to be something completely separate from anything they're doing in the DCU. All right, guys, so Cosmic Book News has been on a roll here, and what I'm about to talk about here is true. Superman did bomb in its streaming numbers. Like, they tried to make it seem like it was this amazing thing because it was number one on the app, and I told you if it was the only movie on there, of course it's going to be number one. But it says, wow, The Rock's Black Adam crushes James Gunn's Superman on HBO Max. Superman even fails to beat Marvel's Captain America Brave New World and might be at Thunderbolt's level. Nielsen's data confirms what many suspected, that James Gunn's Superman didn't fly high on HBO Max. The film generated 513 million minutes of viewing over its first 3 days on the platform, ranking number 4 on the movies chart and failing to break into Nielsen's top 10 overall. Nielsen reported Black Adam at 632 million minutes in its first 3 days on HBO Max. Think about that. It's almost 100 million more minutes watched on Black Adam. It's more than that on Black Adam. More than James Gunn's Superman. There was more, I keep telling people, there was more interest with the DCEU than there is with the DCU, and this is another prime example. You had it happen with Peacemaker, where the season finale bombed. Way fewer people watched it than the season 1 finale when it was with the DCEU. More people were watching Peacemaker when it was with the DCEU. The same thing here. James Gunn's Superman can't even reach Black Adam levels. We were told Black Adam was a bomb, not just in the box office, but also at home. Yet, it had 100 and almost 20 million more views in its first 3 days. Minutes. That's insane. despite there being more subscribers on HBO Max now. It said, Nielsen reported Black Adam has 632 million minutes in his first 3 days on HBO Max, a stronger opening than Superman, despite the negative press surrounding Dwayne Johnson's movie. And it's true. Think about that. All those people who claimed Black Adam was a failure, and it got more viewed minutes by a large margin than Superman did. There is no interest in James Gunn's DCU. Goes on to say, in comparison, Marvel's Captain America Brave New World started with 750 million minutes over 4 days, and Thunderbolts hit 702 million in 5, both of which made the Nielsen overall and movie charts. On a daily average, Superman still trails Captain America Brave New World, pulling 171 million minutes per day compared to 187 million. And since Superman debuted on a Friday, its weekend surge was likely followed by a sharper drop during the weekdays, meaning the average almost certainly declined after Nielsen's 3-day window, bringing it down closer to Thunderbolts. Some pretty crazy stuff, guys. Also, discussing Film Report on this, that Robin will appear in the next arc of Absolute Batman, according to series artist Nick Dragotta. Scott Snyder actually chimed in and said, stay tuned. I would like to keep Robin away for a little while, but it looks like they may be bringing him sooner rather than later. All right, guys, I'm going to have a Lego review here shortly. I built this over the weekend. I was actually looking at this set when it first got released last year, but the set was $60. And it was kind of a high price for only 435 pieces. And so right now, Target has this on sale for, I think, $37. And so I was able to snag one, and I put it together this weekend, and I will be doing a review on this shortly, so stay tuned. All right, so here are one of the two big things that I wanted to talk about. So I told you that there were two big things that happened since the Superman photo drop. This is one of them. Zack Snyder posted this and got everybody up in arms over the weekend again. Zack Snyder posted this, basically Joe Manganiello, I don't know how you say his last name, is Deathstroke. And you could see the Curly Ray posted this as well. This got a lot of people talking as well. This got people asking the question, is something going on behind the scenes, or is he just sharing these photos? Some people are out there, he's just saying he's just trying to get a bigger audience on Instagram. Well, he doesn't need to do that. He's already popular. He does not need to do a gimmick to get people to watch his stuff. And I will point out that he started doing stuff like this back when Zack Snyder's Justice League finally got announced. Right before that, he started posting all of these interesting photos that led up to the announcement that it was being released. There's something very similar could be happening. And there's another thing that happened that really raises some eyebrows. And we're going to see that in today's video as well. Here it is. The official France Netflix account posted this. Wow. It says 1 versus 1. Who wins? Black Adam. It's available. So with everything that's going on, do you think they are posting this stuff by accident? Why do you think that all of this stuff is all of a sudden happening? Could it be because James Gunn's DCU does not have the audience they were expecting? That people aren't tuning into Creature Commandos, people aren't tuning into Peacemaker, that Superman lost money at the theater? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, they might be looking back at the path that actually made them money and had people interested? Do you think maybe that might be the case? All right, guys, so that's another long video, but I had to put this out there. Usually where there's smoke, there's fire. We've already heard about the sale of Warner Brothers, and that when this happens, that more than likely the regime of David Zaslav, Peter Safran, and James Gunn will be out. Even if they do reboot or start over, regardless, those individuals will be gone, and something else will be happening. Whether it's a new universe or if they reboot remains to be seen. I do think their best bet would be to bring Henry Cavill back. I also want to point out that with Zack Snyder's post last week of Henry Cavill being Superman, that Gal Gadot actually liked that photo. And it's pretty cool what is going on amongst the community out there and getting a lot of people talking. And we're not being toxic about it. We're not being rude or crude about it. But the people who are afraid of this are making whole videos. I just watched an entire 10-minute video today from Real Rejects talking about how it was irresponsible for Zack Snyder to post that photo. Like, seriously, it was a whole 10-minute video on it. What do those people care? If they're happy with the direction of the current DCU, what do they care? It shouldn't matter to them. But I personally think, I do believe, based on the evidence that we've seen, that something is happening behind the scenes. Henry Cavill is Superman. All right, guys, we will see you on the next video.